In the previous tutorial, I was using punch-in, punch-out mode, which is the default recording mode, to record both in linear recording and cycle recording. So if I wanted to remove those events after the recording, I'd have to hit stop and then undo the recording or remove it, then relocate to the left locator, then press record again. That's a lot of button pressing, so when you're recording audio, you can also use re-record mode. And let me show you how that works. I'm going to remove these other 2 takes on that track. Then I'm going to come down to my common record settings and I'm going to change the punch-in, punch-out mode to re-record mode. And now when I do the recording, I won't have to stop and undo everything. I can just hit the record button again to remove all the old events and record new takes. But before I do that, I'm going to disable the cycle mode because I'll show you how to use that in just a moment. Okay, so right off the bat, I forgot that I wasn't going to do the recording right at the very beginning of the left locator. So instead of hitting stop and undo and rewind and so forth, I'm just going to press the record button again. It's going to remove the old take and get ready for a new take. And that was terrible, so I'll hit the record button again. It'll remove it and start a new take. And I like that, so I'll press stop. So you'll notice that in the comping lanes, there are no more than the last take that I recorded, because in re-record mode, it removes all the old takes. But there are some other ways to handle the recording history of all of those different takes that you record on an audio track. Let's just delete that event and come down to the audio record modes. Right now, I was in the default of keep history, and I have been through the last series of tutorials. So it's going to keep all of the history or all of the takes that I've recorded as long as I was recording and not in re-record operation, because that removes the old takes. So in this mode, it keeps the history. But let's talk about replace. And to show you replace, what I'm going to do is actually undo that last recording so that I have something on that track. But then when I press the record button, it's going to remove the old take before the recording engages. So when I press record and it actually starts the recording, it will remove that take 10. And that was terrible, so I'm going to want to re-record that. But before I do, let me press stop. And you'll notice that there are no pinstripes on that newly recorded event. And if I go to the comping lanes here, you'll see that it removed the old material up until the point where I hit stop. So that way, when you're doing linear recording, it'll get rid of the old stuff as you're recording the new stuff. But like I say, if you press stop before the end of the last take, then it will stop the recording and leave the previous take. So if I wanted to get rid of all of those events, I'd need to click and drag a selection box over those, hit the delete key, then do my new recording. But before I do that, let's talk about cycle recording and how replace can help you in that situation too. So actually, let me leave those events in there. I'm going to turn on the cycle mode, but when I come down to my audio settings, I'm going to choose cycle history and replace. And this is a really good mode if you're the kind of person that just perseveres when they're cycle recording until they know they have the right take. So let's select cycle history and replace. But before I do any audio recording, I am going to leave the comping lanes open so you can see what happens to these old takes and where the new takes actually appear during the recording. So I'm in cycle mode and I'll hit the record button. Then it's going to go around in a cycle again. Now, I hate that take, so I'm just going to let it go around in a cycle again. And you'll really see what's happening in this mode when I stop the recording. So I'll hit stop, and you'll see that those previous takes went away because it's been replaced by these new takes. So it kept the last one, getting rid of the previous recording on those tracks. And then if you know that there's one that you would rather keep than the other, you can delete these older ones. Like, I don't like this one and I don't like that one. I really liked my first pass of that recording. So that is the event that I'll want to become permanent in this particular project. And next I'll show you some comping basics.